Hi, I'm Dr. Dave, and welcome to the Good Life Lab. I am a therapist and former college professor. Today I'm going to share some of the things that have helped me in my journey in mental health. I will also share a bit about my struggles with mental health. Hi, I'm Dr. Dave, and welcome to the Good Life Lab, where we explore and experiment with mental health and well-being tools, tips and techniques. And so it's a place to, like I said, experiment with your life and try different things and see what works to help you just improve your life a little bit. So I was all set this morning to record, and I started recording a video on just what you're, envisioning your best life. And then all kinds of things started happening with the camera, and it was storming outside, and you can hear that on the sound, and there was just noises all over the house, and just getting frustrated. And I think I just had in mind conversation from last night too with one of my friends who is kind of struggling with depression, and thought I'd maybe go a different route with this really first video on this channel to relaunch some of the work I've done, and just kind of share more from the heart things that have helped me as a therapist and just as a practitioner for my own well-being. So I am a therapist and former college professor, as well as a coach and positive psychology researcher. So a lot of what I'll be sharing on this channel is research, kind of more evidence-based solutions for improving your mental well-being. And but today I'm going to share some of the things that have helped me in my journey in mental health. So I'm going to try to start, chronologically, things that I kind of tried early on growing up, and then in college, and then throughout my life, the things that have helped kind of support my well-being and my mental health. I will also share a bit about my struggles with mental health early on, and so really I think it was around 10 or 11 is when things kind of took a dark turn for me. I really tell people that I grew up a lot like Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, just very kind of carefree and not really worried about too much. And then some things happened around 9, 10, as well as kind of adolescence setting in and struggling with identity and just depression in my teen years. The things that I think got me through that time were, one of the main things was just being involved in sports and being athletic. So I played soccer in high school and also in college, and having that focus, that physical exertion and focus really helped kind of buoy my mental health during that time. So that's one thing I'd recommend if you aren't doing, to think about how to get involved in some sort of activity, a hobby that you're just engaged physically. Another thing that helped me, I guess more so in high school, as I look back in preparing for college, and at the time I was focused on becoming a doctor in sports medicine. So I think just having some goals that I was reaching for, a vision for my life, that helped me get through and persevere through some difficult times in high school and even college. And so setting goals is another kind of pillar of my mental health journey. And I remember having a conversation with my brother, who was a Navy SEAL, so a very type A guy, who also struggled with mental health kind of later in his life. And he said one thing that got him through a really difficult time was just having a checklist of items on his wall. He would, piece of paper, he'd kind of thumbtack to the wall and just cross each one off as he got things accomplished that day. So that really helped him, and that's kind of one of the things I've used to help myself, is when I'm going through more challenging time, I'll just make sure I'm keeping track of things, goals that I have, both to-do list items and just longer term goals as well. Something else that it's helping, I'd be kind of remiss if I didn't mention this as a therapist, that started to help me in my 20s. I really didn't start going to therapy till I was like 22, I think. And that really opened up some doors of possibility of just talking through some of my issues. So I really believe in talk therapy. For me, that really has worked well. But also something called cognitive behavioral therapy, so CBT, something I'll maybe share more about in a future video, but something you can look up. It really is about changing your kind of thinking about something, your self-talk, from what might be kind of destructive to constructive or positive. So those things helped me analyze and observe my own thinking about things and change those to more constructive ways of thinking about myself and the world. So that's something very important as a part of therapy. So another thing that's a little more, I guess, unique to me is leaning into my creativity and curiosity. So I think we all have the individual strengths. That's one of my strengths, is just being creative. And I think at some point, I don't know, my college years or maybe later, I really saw that as a top strength, and I used that to my benefit to help me with my depression at times and anxiety. And something that would take me out of myself is just kind of brainstorming, using my creativity to brainstorm possibilities for the future. So that's one thing that's been really, another aspect that's really been helpful to me. So kind of generalizing it from creativity, just identifying your strengths and leaning into them can be really helpful in supporting your mental health. Another unique feature maybe to me is I really love adventure and travel, and started doing that kind of early in my life as well. College years, I started traveling to Europe, and one big adventure that I wanted to do, kind of started dreaming about, using my creativity to dream about early in life, was I really wanted to just bike across the country, take a summer and do that. I was able to do that in my 30s as a part of my work. Kind of a fundraiser for the college I was working for. So that, again, biking with friends for the summer really shifted some of my thinking for that period of time and beyond. So it was really helpful to me. So something to consider is planning an adventure of some kind that would get you outside of your normal routine and kind of shake things up and help you regain some sense of hope and possibility. Another tool is pretty popular now, is called mindfulness. So it's really kind of just an awareness of your thoughts and observing your thoughts. It's kind of a simple way of explaining it. But during another difficult time of my life, I looked for more specific teaching on mindfulness, and found as part of a hospital, I found a group that was meeting for 6 weeks, and the psychologist ran the group and just kind of explained mindfulness, and then we practiced it together as a group for about 45 minutes, and then we talked about it afterwards. So leaning into learning about mindfulness and practicing that either by yourself, which sometimes can be challenging at first, to get into it and learn about it, I'd recommend trying to find a group that you can do that with, and really it can be very beneficial to your mental health. Something else I came across kind of more recently in the last 10 years or so that you'd think I'd be more aware of it. I've been a therapist for 30 years, I think. And so I came across this research in positive psychology, which is essentially the science of well-being or the science of happiness. So evidence-based research around how people thrive. So maybe 10, 12 years ago, I started reading about some of the practices around positive psychology, which really will be kind of core to this channel and the Good Life Lab. So one of the things I learned in that, and I started kind of researching maybe 8 years ago, was the effectiveness of gratitude letters. So, and gratitude visits. So essentially identifying people who made a difference in your life, writing a letter to them then actually delivering it to them and reading it to them, ruminating about your experiences and memories of them. And that practice has shown to boost your mood as well as the person that you read the letter to for up to a month after your visit. And so with that research, I created this year-long project for myself where I traveled all over the country. And it took me a month to write a good letter. I'd write letters and deliver it to them, my friends and family all over the country. And after that period of time, that year, I struggled with depression and seasonal depression quite a bit until 2017, where I had this project. And now it's been 7-8 years since then, and my brain chemistry, I think, was changed in some way. I don't have the same level of depression in the wintertime. So that's another practice I'd recommend, is gratitude and gratitude letters, as well as kind of the broader research of positive psychology. Another important area for me has been, and it's part of positive psychology as well, is identifying a sense of purpose for myself. It's been a lifelong struggle. I think it's one of the things early on that kind of caused the depression, was I just felt like life was meaningless, that there wasn't much purpose to life. And it's been kind of a lifelong challenge for me to find that purpose. And I think I'm at a point where that's pretty good. And one of the things that's helped me is kind of writing a mission statement or purpose statement. And let's see if I can recall it for you. I have one that's been refined over time. So my mission in life is to create worlds, which worlds means content essentially, to create worlds that cultivate friendship, transcendence, and reason for being. So that's kind of, I boiled down my mission in life, which encompasses my core values and things I want to accomplish. So I want to create worlds that cultivate friendship, transcendence, which is being connected to something greater than yourself, and reason for being, or purpose. So I'd encourage you, there's a process that I can introduce you to in future videos, but also leave some notes below that help you identify your mission and purpose in life. So I'd encourage you to consider that as well. The last thing I want to talk about today is projects. So developing and following through on creative projects for yourself. So that's something I've done throughout my life, and it started, I guess, really with my graduate programs were considered projects that are something that kind of helped me focus. But after that, this bike ride across America was a big project, and then I wrote a book for a year. That was a project, and then I just evolved into doing these year-long projects, including the gratitude visits, which I mentioned. One of the bigger ones I did was I called 12 Months to Live, which you'll see, I did a full documentary with episodes. So I'll provide a way for you to connect to that if you're interested in that project. But yeah, I called it 12 Months to Live. It was something I thought of to frame how to kind of pivot during a transition period in my life. I thought, what would I do if I had 12 months to live? And so I did a life list, wrote down a bunch of dreams, goals, and ideas, and I took those top items and took 12 of those items, and I thought, each month for this year I'm going to do something different, and it took me all the way around the world, and it really kind of again shifted some of my thinking about things, and my mental health and well-being gave me a focus, gave me adventure, connecting with friends and family around the world. So that's the kind of last thing, is creating projects. And so that is some top items, pillars I call them, that have supported my mental health, and then I would recommend for you as well. Future of this channel, I'm going to share with you more details around each of those areas of mental health, but then just to kind of focus on this last one, the projects idea, and how you can create your own project around your strengths, around your passions and interests, around your needs, and something creative that will engage your imagination and really help you follow through with some of the ideas and goals that you have for yourself. So stay tuned for upcoming episodes and videos. I'm going to try to, each week for this year, have posts 2 or 3 times. One at the beginning of the week, kind of introducing a challenge for the week around mental health and well-being from a positive psychology perspective. Then during the middle of the week, I have more robust content around that challenge, and then I have reflection kind of at the end of the week. And so each week will have a different positive psychology challenge to boost your mental health and well-being. So I invite you to stay tuned and subscribe, and I look forward to maybe hopefully get to know some of you this year.